Hey guys, welcome back to another installation of Judging Books by Their Covers. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to say if you have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here. If you haven't subscribed, it's so easy. Just click that subscribe button and you'll get notified when I upload new videos, so there's really no downside, especially because it's free. So please subscribe. If you end up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and share. I want to hear your thoughts. I want you to share this video with anyone that you think might enjoy it. Please share my video. As always, we have 5 books today that I will be looking at and reacting to for the very first time, hopefully, I think. And I will be judging them based on their covers and titles and then putting them into a rank blindly, from 1 at the top being this is my most favorite of what I've seen, and I can see myself picking this up, taking it home right away without reading the back, to 5 at the bottom being I would at least need to read the back and know more before I took this to read, but maybe not even then. That being said, let's go ahead and dig in. Ooh, I love the colors. Oh my god, it's amazing. So the first book that we're looking at today is called The Most Mysterious Bookshop in Paris by Mark Pryor. It's so funny, I see Pryor and I think Richard Pryor. By Mark Pryor. And that's it. Those are all the words on the cover. There is like a sticker or some sort of emblem on the top left corner. Upon closer inspection, it says a Paris bookshop mystery. So I wonder if this is part of a series or just part of a universe that this author writes in. I don't know, it's interesting. So the first thing I absolutely noticed when I pulled up this cover is I love the color of the whole thing. It's this very dark, but at the same time purplish blue. But it's almost like it's this color because it's being lit up. Like the whole cover, we're outside at nighttime in the dark, and whatever source the light's coming from is lighting up the area that is blue to make it this lighter, purpler, closer to indigo, dark blue. And I love it. I love it so much. It's such a pretty color. So, of course, the other thing I notice is that the main focus of the image is a bookshop on the corner of a street. And it's like the door is literally on the corner. And you can tell it's a bookstore. Like you can see in the windows, there's books lining all kinds of shelves in the bookstore. The interesting thing is, it seems to be that this picture is incredibly late at night. It looks like a drawing more than a photograph, let me put it that way. Or at least drawn on a computer, because it may not be like drawn with like hands, but it is not a photograph. And the most interesting thing here is, so the light is on in the bookstore, but it's clearly, it looks like it's midnight outside in this cover, in this image. So the color of the sky makes me feel like it's midnight, which what bookstore is open at midnight? Not usually any. There are 2 street lamps on either side of the corner, because like the bookstore is on the corner and then like you're looking at it and we're looking at it from the front, and there's 2 street lamps on either side near the sidewalk. And you do see a couple of trees in the background past the other area of the building that we can still see in the image. So, but that's really it. You know, we mostly see the bookstore. There are some shadows on the ground from the bookstore itself. And that's it. It is a 2-story bookstore, but there isn't anything on the second floor. The lights are on in the window on the second floor, but I don't see anything going on in there. Mostly what you notice is the first floor with all of the books, and the light is really bright, and there is a person walking up to the door, like walking up to go into the store. And it might be a man, it might be a woman, it might be, I don't know. It could be any type of person. We're far enough away that I can't tell anything about this person other than that they are a person. That is it. They are essentially just a shadow, a silhouette. So this is such a cool cover. And if you've watched my videos before, you know I do love books about bookstores and libraries. I just love them so much. So already I'm invested. And the cover is very mysterious, which works for the title, which also draws me in. I want to know why this bookshop is mysterious. Does it just open randomly and that's it just shows up randomly like the carnival and Something Wicked This Way Comes? Like, what are we talking about here? So I am so curious. I really want to know, and I really do think I would pick this up and want to read it pretty much immediately. Like, it is very hard to not press order right now. I'm moving soon. I don't need to be ordering more books. I'll order them once I get to the new place. Yeah, where I'm at right now, I am going to put this at number 1. Wow. This is making me think of Beauty and the Beast. So the next book that we're looking at today is called Don't Let the Forest In. And the author is C.G. Drews. So before I get into the image of what definitely caught my attention, the author's name is at the very, very bottom of the cover, and then the title is right above that, and directly above that, it does say a New York Times bestseller, but there is also a review quote at the very, very top of the cover that says, "Beautiful, horrific, perfect for any reader who has looked into the sharp mouths of the disturbing fairy tales and found themselves entirely at home." And that quote is by Andrew Joseph White, New York Times bestselling author of Hell Followed With Us. Hell Followed With Us. It's an interesting title. So it is, that's all the words on the cover. That's it. When it comes to the image that we're looking at, the entire cover itself, like the background is black, like we're looking into the shadows, and the whole cover is taken up by a person. Like we're looking at someone's portrait really close up, like from the upper chest and up, you know, like his head doesn't get cut off at all. So we're seeing someone very up close. However, it is clearly like a portrait, like a painting, because the face of the person is slashed through with several slashes, I guess I should say. I was going to say claw marks, but slashes, because I don't know that it was a claw that slashed this, but it's like 4 in a row, like someone had claws. It honestly is what it looks like. Slashes that go diagonally through the person's face. But the other thing is, it's not just that, is that there's greenery, like a vine or some kind of bush that is growing out of the slashes. And there's even a couple flowers peeking through. They kind of seem like roses, but I might be wrong. So it's interesting. There's also some lines that are peeking in from the corners of the page. It almost looks like smoke or maybe some pencil marks. I don't know. I don't know what that part is, and I don't really know what it means. But the part that's really getting me is the slashes through the face. And then the plants, the vines, basically growing through the slashes. So this definitely seems at least scary or horror related. I don't know how scary or horror, but it does seem related. And I honestly just don't know what this could be about other than fairy tales, because so that review quote does give us a lot. Perfect for any reader who has looked into the sharp mouths of disturbing fairy tales and found himself entirely at home. That is disturbing. Definitely also screams horror. I do admit, I think in the last video it was of this series that I talked about enjoying some types of horror movies. Horror books, I've read some. This one does seem a little bit more up my alley. I do like fairy tales and I do like this kind of stuff. So I'm not opposed to it, not directly, just because I don't love all horror doesn't mean I don't like some. And especially because it's fairy tale related. So I'm not completely, I definitely don't feel like I'm going to put this at number 5. I do think it's going to go somewhere towards the middle. Like, I think I would see this and be curious. But at the same time, right now is not the time that I'm into the horror genre. So I think I'm going to put this one at number 4. Ooh, wow. Okay, this one's cool. So the next book that we're looking at today is called Queen of Faces, which is an incredibly cool title. And the author is Petra Lord. So the author's name is at the very, very top of the cover, and then the title takes up the entire cover. It's a huge font, it's spread out, and it takes up the whole cover. However, at the very, very bottom, there is a tagline that says, "A pawn dies, a queen rises," which is very cool. I love the chess reference, but also because it says Queen of Faces, so I love that. That's all the writing on the cover, and going into the image, because it's definitely, like I said before, where it's like, I don't think it's hand drawn, but maybe drawn on a computer. Like, I don't necessarily want to say computer generated. It's, the entire background is very black, but has a lot of little stars in it, so it looks like we're in space, or at least just staring directly at the night sky with a lot of stars that we can see. And there are what looks like a couple of lightning bolts like coming in from the corners of the page. Now, the image, because that's it. The image amongst this background is, I don't even know how to describe this. It honestly looks more like it's art than anything else. It is the bottom portion of a woman's face, and as that goes up into where her eyes would normally be, and this is big head taking up the entire middle of the cover, is a castle rising out of her face, and like there's rocks below it, like it's on a mountain, but still coming out of her face. And there are streams of what looks like her hair, like blowing upwards, like think Hades from Hercules, the Disney animated one where his hair is flowing up like fire. It's what it looks like. That's what her hair looks like. And then at the bottom of her like face, there's like ocean waves like crashing around. And then out of that, still kind of like on the bottom of her face, this probably sounds so crazy as I'm describing it, is a path that is clearly going up to the castle, and there is a person on that path. It's just their silhouette like in gold, and it looks like they might be a warrior or a knight, and I think that they're holding a sword. And that's pretty much it. There is a butterfly that is in her hair, like a big butterfly. And that's pretty much it. The colors of her face, her hair, the castle, because it's all one image, like I said, it looks more like art than anything else, it's blue, like a very dark cerulean ocean blue that has yellow streaks in it. So it's very pleasing to the eye. So it is very cool. Like the art and the colors itself are very, very cool. So going based on the title and the tagline, I am very, very interested. I love chess. I'm currently in, I'm still learning. I enjoy chess. I'm learning how to play chess. So I love the implications there. And Queen of Faces could mean a lot of different things, but it does sound fantasy related. And then when you pull up the cover and look at the image, it is definitely fantasy related. And fantasy is a genre that I like. So this does seem like something I might want to read. So if I was thinking that I'm thinking if I walk up and I see this cover, I think I would be curious. I think I absolutely would pick it up. And then the tagline, "Upon dies a queen rises," definitely sells it a little bit more. So I think I'm going to put this one at number 2. So that means we only have 2 slots left, slots 3 and 5 left. This is so cute. I'm obsessed with the art on this cover. Oh my god. So the next book that we're looking at today is called How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. Love the reference to the movie. That's really cute. The author is Jessie Silva. Jessie Silva. I wanted to say Sylvia. My mouth was trying to say Sylvia. It's not. So the title is in the very, very middle of the cover. And it's kind of, I'll describe how it's placed within the art of the cover in a minute. The author's name is kind of around there. It's not directly below, but it is a little bit underneath the title there. But at the very bottom of the cover, there is a tagline that says, "There's only room in this cottage for one of them." Ooh. Oh, forced proximity. That sounds fun. I don't know that this was romance, but forced proximity with any character chemistry is so much fun. There is also a review quote at the very top of the cover that says, "A wonderful and charming treasure of a book that will warm your heart." Oh, it's adorable. By Sarah Beth Durst. Oh my gosh, I'm sold. Oh man, I can't put this higher. Okay. After Sarah Beth Durst's name, it says New York Times bestselling author of The Spell Shop, which if you have watched any of my videos before, I have made 2 videos on 2 of her books, The Spell Shop and The Enchanted Greenhouse, and they are 2 of my favorite books ever, and they are fantasy books, and I love them so much. And if she has read this book or condones this book or anything like that, I have to read it. Okay, I'm sold. And I can only put it at number 3. Fine. Okay. This is already going at number 3. But I will describe what is on the cover. So the reason I love the art so much on the cover is it looks drawn, and it's like we're looking at a door into a tree trunk, if that makes sense. It's like a little critter or magical being is little enough to live inside a tree trunk, and carved a door into a tree trunk and painted it red. It's a circular door. It's a circle. And then there's like a little bit of like a border, like kind of around the door. And then there's a bunch of little images like all around. So on the door is where the title of the book is. That's why I said it goes into the art. So on the red door, it says How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. And then there's just so many little images here that I just absolutely love. There's those little red mushrooms with the white dots on them, which I love mushrooms. They're so cute. So that is there. And then there's also little heart leaves like coming off of the tree. So like the tree branches are kind of going all around everywhere, and the leaves are shaped like hearts, and they're different shades of greens. And then there's little pink flowers with like yellow centers and then pink petals. And then there is a sword, and I also see a orange pumpkin, and there is like an axe, but not menacingly like we need to chop wood, so here's an axe. And then I also see a lantern, you know, like you put a candle in it and it's a lantern kind of one. And yeah, that's Oh, and I do see 2 pairs of shoes right outside the door. They're like boots, like calf high boots. 2 pairs on either side of the door. Ah, I love this so much. I want to press order on this so bad, but I'm not going to. I'm going to behave. This has to go at number 3 because there's only spots 3 and 5 left, and so it has to go at number 3. It's not possible for it to go at number 5. If I was to redo this, looking at all of the books so far, because we still have 1 book to go, I'd want to put this, I want to say at number 2, because number 1 I was really happy with. Yeah, I think I'd want to replace this at number 2, but we have to put it at number 3. So that does mean that our last book for today goes at number 5, and hopefully that works. Let's hope. Oh, wow. The next book we're looking at today is called The Grendel Affair. And the author is Lisa Sheeran. So here's what's interesting and what was distracting me. There's a bunch of words on the cover. So the title is at almost the very top of the cover, but right above that it does say a spy files novel, first in a new series. So it looks like this book was written and it was intended that it is going to be a part of a series. And I like that they have that on the cover, because a lot of the time when I find books that happen to be in series and I find them after all the books are already out, I'm like, wait, which one's first? Then I have to go into the books and try to see if they have a list of the order of the books or try to look it up online. So I like that it says right here, first. Thank you. I do appreciate that. It's 1 review quote and a tagline. However, the author's name is at the very bottom of the cover, and right above that it says national bestselling author of All Spell Breaks Loose. That's cute. That's funny. So the review quote is on the left side of the cover, kind of directly below the title. And it says, fresh and exciting, humorous and action-packed, The Grendel Affair is urban fantasy at its best. And that quote's by Ilona Andrews, #1 New York Times bestselling author. Okay, that's cool. So action, comedy, exciting. Sounds pretty cool. I do like that combination of things. And then the tagline is on the very right side of the cover, right above the author's name. So it's an interesting design choice, having these things so opposed like that. And it says, vampires, ghouls, and CIA agents, just another day at the office. You could have given me 20 guesses as to the type of characters or things you would see and hear in this book, and vampires and ghouls were nowhere on my list. Could not have guessed that if I had had 20 guesses, not even 1,000,000 guesses. I see this cover and I honestly think like Divergent series, or like a spy movie, like maybe even Black Widow. Like, that is what I think. When I see this, I do not think vampires or ghouls. So that is weird. So the going into the image, that is the cover, it looks computer drawn, not necessarily generated. We're looking at 2 people that are clearly on some sort of mission. They're both dressed in black, movable like clothes, like they have the boots, and they both have hand pew-pews, being careful not to say certain words. And, holding it like they're approaching a destination where they're expecting trouble. The 2 people, it's a man and a woman. Honestly, genuinely, when I first pulled this cover up and just got a slight glimpse of them, I genuinely thought it was a drawing of Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. I'm not even kidding. It looks exactly like them. I don't know why. It just does. But it does look like a drawing. I don't think it's them. And I honestly don't know where they are, because the interesting thing is they clearly are outside of some building, but there's like some fog around them that is also being lit up from behind them. Like very yellow, orange, bright light from behind them that's lighting up the fog around them that I can't tell where they are at all. So maybe that's part of the whole fantasy mysticism aspect of the book. I don't know. I have to admit, even though this does go at number 5, and of the books that we have on the rank today, I do feel like it fits best on number 5 for me personally, I am incredibly curious. I actually feel like I could pick up this book and read both the review quote and the tagline and really say, I actually might just take this home without even needing to read the back. I actually could do that. And yet, I would pick up the other 4 first, and then this one, but I could still see myself wanting to read this one and take it home. So, even though it does fit at number 5, I'm actually interested in this book. That is all for this week's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I very clearly would have probably put number 3 at least number 2, possibly even number 1 if I really made a difficult choice. But other than that, I am actually very happy with this rank. The other books I am happy with, 2, 4, and 5. I'm happy with their placement. And actually, I might have switched 4 and 5 too, because over horror, I think I would read this one first. I think I would pick this one up first. But at the same time, the other one was fantasy, was fairy tales. So now I don't know. Actually, it's kind of hard to say. I'm very happy with the placement of number 2, kind of. I don't know. This one's a little hard for me to say. I actually feel like I could have put any of these books at any different rank in this week's rank and still would have been happy with it, which is weird. I'm interested in all these books. Let me put it that way. So that is all for this week's video. I hope you guys will let me know in the comments what you guys think. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.